Hello.
Hello.
How are
How
you?
are you?
I'm
Good.
good.
How are you?
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys. Did you
Oh, hey, Mom.
see your Hey, Matt's mom. Um, all right, guys, we are going live today again with our recovery mindset, and today is life after sports. So I just finished my college athletic journey and really all my sport journey a few months ago. So all the questions today.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear about this. I mean, I feel like a topic not talked about enough that, I think it's a lot on athletes to go ahead and transition out of it. And I think for you, obviously, you're living that first tale. Hopefully, I can shed some light on it. But
Yeah.
I guess for you, the first thing is just what was that transition like? Like, did you ever have a vision of what it was going to look like when you were leaving out of the arena?
Um, I think my vision was just like I would have to find something to fill my time with. Like I didn't have like my whole life was like gymnastics and sports, so I was like, what am I gonna do to fill my time? Really, it's kind of like what I was more worried about. I quickly found things to find my time, but I think that was like the biggest thing was like I just didn't know what I was gonna do, like what would workouts look like. I'm not an athlete anymore, those types of things.
I imagine like I was thinking about this the other day because for me with football, I had fall and then I had the entire winter and spring semesters. For you, you went right into graduation, then you were done,
Yeah.
which I gotta imagine that added that piece to it, right?
Yeah, it was scary because it was like school was finishing, gymnastics was finishing, and it was kind of like I have to be like an adult now. So it's definitely hard to get used to. But I'm like always wanting to like be in the future. Like I'm like a future forward thinker. So I was like, I think even when I was a little girl, I was like, I can't wait to be an adult and have a job. So here I am living that dream.
Hey, don't worry, I'm still trying to figure out how to be an adult.
Yeah.
What is the one thing you really want to focus on now that you do have time, now that you can actually focus on really yourself and your career and anything else for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest thing I would want to focus on is myself, right? Like, and also just like my friends, my family, my friends, I haven't been able to like give them really my all because I've been so caught up in school and gymnastics. So I'm excited to be able to just like, I don't know, have more time to like literally just call people. Like, a simple thing like that, but just be kind of not like normal, but just not in sports all the time.
I can understand that. It's almost like practicing mindfulness or trying to actually be a part of society
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
sense.
That's gonna be the biggest thing for sure.
What about what is the hardest part for you about actually stepping away? Like, what is the thing that you feel like you're probably going to miss the most now that you're actually out of the arena?
I think the hardest thing so far is like still seeing my friends practicing and training and like you kind of have that family built into your sport and so not having that anymore like readily at my fingertips every day like going to practice it's definitely be like a different like it's gonna be a change that I'm gonna have to get used to for sure because I see all my friends like still in college and practicing every day and being with each other every day and I don't have that anymore so that's definitely probably one of the biggest things I have to get used to.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I mean, I talk to people, teammates, friends, just a lot of people are athletes, and I think every single one of them says the camaraderie or the lack of being able to be on that in that arena with those athletes. It's almost like living vicariously through them in some ways, but finding a new way to channel that.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, but I'll figure it out.
Hey, you never know. You still have one more year of eligibility.
Maybe I'll come back in like 3 years. I'm
Yeah,
supposed to be like 27.
I think that happened in the Olympics, one or two Olympics ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, there's one girl from a different country. I don't remember what country she's from, but she's like 47 and she still competes. So,
I mean, that's
hey,
kind of cool.
yeah, that is really awesome. Not for me, but good for her.
Yeah, for sure. Now, did you ever have that person that like almost like we talked about the mentorship with life outside of sports and mental health? Did you almost have that person you could talk to, or even a teammate that was talking to about transitioning out of the arena and life outside of sports, or did you not really think about it much?
I didn't really think about that. I didn't. Um, I mean, like obviously, I talked to friends and stuff that have been out of the sport for a little bit, but it was never like my intention to be like, so what do I do now? Like, and understand that transition. It was more just, how are you type stuff.
No, I definitely get that. I don't think when I remember when I think back, I mean, you dating back to however many years ago it's been, I remember like I always knew I wanted to do this, and I almost feel like I was setting those tones, like you, I think future, and I almost think that I kept thinking, okay, how do I get to that next step? And it just was like distracting myself to even get there, which when I think back on it, it was just a distraction technique to
Yeah,
prepare myself.
yeah.
Uh,
I never really reached out to anyone. Maybe I should.
hey, there's still time. Now, when redefining like strength, health, and purpose, I mean, that's obviously such a big part of it. And I know it's a big thing you stand for as well. You're obviously a super resilient person, but when you think on like the definition of strength and resilience, does that change now?
Um, no, I don't think it really changes because sport teaches you so much about discipline and what you said, like strength and resilience, that I think that's just something that goes with you throughout your whole life, right? I think that's just something that you have always, and it might look different in different jobs or like stages of life you're in, but I don't think that that changes much at all.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, that's life lessons with Kai again that we're pushing.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I actually get touch on that later where it's super like sports teaches so much to you about life. So it's almost like if you can apply those principles, that strength and resilience, it shouldn't really I always tell people I'm still trying to train like I'm an athlete, which I'm sure
Exactly.
that's how you're almost looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, I try to as much as I can, right? So.
Yep. Especially being injured, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, Now, what about so health in sports is such a big part of it. Obviously, you're still in the health arena, and that's obviously going to be a big part of it. But what does health now mean to you now that you're not just being trying to be ready to be available and compete?
I think health is. I think this was also when I was competing, but health is all encompassing, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, right? There's like so many different levels to it. And I mean, you learn that when you go to school, if you do any type of health degree, but trying to just keep that balanced, whether it's like my work life, my social life, my me time, my life with close relationships, stuff like that. I think just trying to find that balance is going to be like the biggest thing. And that's just kind of, I think, another pillar of just like self care and taking care of yourself.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, that's such a I feel like a missing link in it as well. So it's awesome to hear that you're already kind of finding it. What about finding your purpose in movement? I mean, even without competition, you obviously this might be easier since you're already in the movement side, but are you almost still trying to prioritize that even in your work life now?
I mean, my work is a lot of moving in general, so that's nice. But I have been taking a little bit of a break just because I've been working out my whole life, and it was more of like forced. I mean, a few times it was yes, because I wanted to, but a lot of the times it's just like you're an athlete, you kind of have to work out. And so now that I don't have that obligation, I'm trying to like find my balance and what I like to do. Like maybe I like yoga. I don't, but maybe I would like yoga instead of like heavy lifting. So I think just trying to find that balance and also giving my body that break. It was kind of nice that I did get her hip surgery when I did because I think it would have been a lot harder for me to like actually take that break. So
Oh, I can only imagine. It probably helps both mentally and physically, I'm sure.
yeah, 100%.
Um, I think it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's Ellie Raisman who said like after she was done competing that she like couldn't work out and transitioned to Pilates. Don't quote me on her being the one, but I think that's who it was, which is kind of like that. It sounds like that's almost what you're looking towards.
Yeah, I have a really good friend who's now a Pilates instructor and she was a gymnast. So I mean, sometimes you just go into the different stuff, and I think that's just kind of what I'm trying to do is just feel my body out, see what I actually enjoy doing, and something that I feel like is fun and not something I feel like is something I have to do every day because it's good to exercise and I have to do it.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Now, I guess going into that whole life after sports with routines and habits, like you're t talking on now, I mean, without having competition coaches, teammates hold you accountable, do you find it hard to stay motivated to work out and exercise?
Well, I'm only like 3 months out of not being an athlete. So this might be a better question for like in a year. But like right now, it's like it's definitely hard to find that not it's not even like about time. It's more about finding the balance between school or not having school, but like now starting a new job and living in a new place and it's trying to find that balance with do I like waking up really early in the mornings and going to work out or do I want to do it later at night? So it's more finding that balance. It's not really about the motivation for me right now. It's more about what can I do at this moment.
Yeah, that
So
makes
I
complete
think,
sense.
but I think in a year it will be hard to find motivation for sure, unless I have like a goal I'm working towards. So I think that's something I definitely need to keep in the back of my head always is to have some sort of workout goal.
Yeah, I
Right.
definitely can see that. I mean, that's exactly what I do now. It's funny. I talk to some athletes where they're like, I want nothing to do with exercising for like the first 2 to 3 years. I
Yeah,
mean, for me, it's PTSD from waking up at 5 in the morning, but everybody has like a little bit of something.
exactly.
Um, that hasn't changed, but I feel like the having a goal has always been something that like most athletes I talk to, it's just okay, I have to find something I'm training for, or which is kind of that interesting balance, I feel like. Um,
It is. It's definitely hard to find.
yeah, and this might also be a better one to ask than about a year ago, but do you think that you would maybe try to, once you get healthy and once you get back to things, try to keep a similar training program, or do you think you're like, no, I need to work out differently, so my body just can't do it anymore?
No, I actually love the way that I would work out before. I loved like the way I lifted. It was really fun to me, especially where I work now is more like athletic based lifting, and it's not just lifting weights for like powerlifting. So I really do enjoy doing it that way. I feel like you get more of like an all encompassing like full body workout almost. So I like doing that. It's just before I was very structured and like somebody telling me what to do, and now I don't have somebody telling me what to do. So it's more of like, okay, do I come up with this on my own? Do I do what I did like a year ago, or do I try something different?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, I'm spoiled by having a wife who's a sports performance coach, so she writes me programs, but and I have a
Oh,
lot of
that's
strength
nice.
coach. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Then you also, when you have a lot of friends that are, they eventually start writing for you too. But I remember going through a period, I just literally was going through routine, and it was like, all right, this isn't as fun as it used to be.
Yeah.
Um, do you almost feel like you'll probably experience that a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been working again, like you work out for so long. I think that you definitely get burnt out. And so taking that time away is good. And, trying to find, okay, when is the right time to go back to it is probably like what I'm trying to focus on.
I definitely get that.
Yep.
What habits do you feel like gymnastics helped you form that you think are gonna last for your lifetime? This is you already touched on a little bit. What are those like biggest things you feel like?
Definitely the discipline, like the getting up every day. Gymnastics was interesting in that we trained all year round. So our days looks the same pretty much 365 days of the year, except for in the summer when you have a little bit of a different, a little bit more freedom. But other than that, you're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's that discipline of getting up to live the same day again and again and again. And that's like probably was the hardest part, especially when I was like you hear about senioritis and stuff, but it's real. Like you get to that point where it's like, oh my gosh, I've lived this same day for 4 years in college and it's the same day from high school and before. So I think that definitely helped a lot with discipline and, creating like good schedules of like, what to do when you're doing it, like time management stuff. But um, gymnastics taught me a lot about like who I was as a person in a way, and then also how I can like always be growing, if that makes sense. Like your
Yeah.
gymnastics can always get better and it could get worse, and most of the time it goes from bad to good to a little worse again to maybe way better, and then it's never like a constant line. It's always up and down. So I think that definitely taught me a lot too, because I mean, life's always going to be up and down. You're never going to be perfect all the time. So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. When I wish more people would realize, like, I think when it comes to athletes, like you're touching on it now, but there's so much that sports just teach you about life. I mean, whether it's how to get back up, whether you fell off a beam, or whether it's you drop a pass or whatever. So I'm sure that's huge for you, even just thinking about that. Do you feel like that's also something that continues to kind of like um, be something that you take with you even in the workforce?
Oh yeah. I mean, not every day. Like 2 days ago, I woke up like I really don't want to go to work, but I had to go to work. So it's definitely helped me become a way like thicker skinned person, I think, for sure.
Oh, I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I guess getting into mental health, because obviously we've talked a lot about this throughout, but a big part that we haven't talked about is like finding your why, which I think you've touched on a little bit now. And I'll touch on something with that in a second. But I feel like a lot of athletes, they just struggle with that identity crisis. Has that almost been hard for you, or do you feel like because you got to leave on your own terms to a degree, you don't have that?
I don't know if I don't have that at all, but I think that I was really prepared for the transition and I already knew like kind of the career field I was going into and what I wanted to do. And that's what I'm doing in the career field is helping people. So I think my identity, like people will be like, oh, like you're a gymnast. I'm like, well, I was a gymnast, like I'm not anymore. And that's been like an interesting kind of just change in my life. But it's been really exciting too, because now I get to be not a different person, but now I get to have, almost not this gymnastics that's been attached to my life for basically like the last 20 years. I get to be somebody who's not just a gymnast, which I think is really exciting.
That you just be Kylan
Exactly. Just
or
kind
mental health advocate or whatever.
of. Yeah.
My daughter's still, she heard I was talking tonight. She goes, "Oh, can I talk to her?"
Addie. She's so cute.
So what are the hobbies I feel like do you really plan to try to pursue now? I mean, I feel like hobbies are such a big piece that athletes don't get to have. But what are those things that you're like, man, I have to do this now?
Well, now that where I live, I can hike a lot. So I'm thinking about definitely taking up some hiking. Um, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I was really just thinking about hiking. I'm not crafty or like have any sort of like art sense at all. So I think it would probably just be more like outdoorsy stuff that I would, try to do because if I wanted to start painting, I mean, it would look horrible. So I
Well,
think I'm
apparently
gonna
you have a
sit in my
culinary.
office.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently you have a culinary ability.
Yes. I mean, I can start cooking more maybe soon here, so that would be fun. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one that I've always thought a lot about. I have this friend who, I mean, he's a big hiker. I'm a big hiker. And we both were talking one day, and because we both played football together, and he had just said, do you wish you could go back and have learned this earlier? Like that hiking was the thing, because football was life. It was eat, sleep, drink football for high school and college. And
Right.
it's one of those things where I feel like if athletes were able to figure out hobbies earlier, it'd be like, it's almost like their career would probably go better. Maybe not compete as well. I don't know. I don't know if we should do that study, but I feel like that'd be a huge piece.
Yeah, I knew that I loved, so I found out really early, like my freshman year, that I loved walking and I loved being outdoors. And like watching the sunsets. That was nice for me because I had that like outlet. Um, and my first school was in Utah, so I had like the mountains in my backyard, which was really cool. Uh, so like I knew that I loved it, but it was always hard. I mean, then going to South Carolina, I'm sure I did like maybe two hikes when I was there, and it was the same one twice. And it wasn't really even a hike; it was more of a walk. But
We need to get you into North Carolina.
yeah, I think it was just harder because it was an area that I was not really familiar with, and then it was also just like they were farther away. Like Utah was way closer to go on a hike than it is in South Carolina.
Oh yeah, it's like a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
which we won't talk about that frustration. What about any suggestions, I guess, for athletes to try to figure out those hobbies?
I would say try different things. Like try a lot of things. If you think you're crafty, try something else. Like try something along those lines. Like maybe if you're like really into doing your nails, try to do your own nails or start painting or do mosaics. One of the girls that I know from Clemson, she does this thing called a junk journal, and it's like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's
Yeah, that sounds fun.
random stuff from all over that she just puts in this journal, and she's just like she also likes mosaics, and like it's a very cool like concept. So finding stuff like that, just trying different things. If you don't think you're outdoorsy, I didn't think I was outdoorsy, and I went camping for the first time in a long time last summer, and I love it. I want to go camping every weekend now. So it's trying new things because you might surprise yourself.
Do you think that almost would have helped your both mental health but also performance and even burnout rate?
Um, if I was able to hike every weekend, yeah.
Or yeah, I could totally
Hike
see
or
that.
camp or something, yes. That would have been great. But it would like the burnout is combined with the school and the gymnastics and weights and just like kind of doing the same thing every day, I think is where the burnout comes from.
Oh yeah, no, I could totally see that. Um, Do you, what about finding your why for training? So, I mean, obviously, like a why, finding it, there's a big push. I feel like people talk about this all the time, but people don't really talk about it on the exercise piece, especially for athletes. So, I guess what is your why for training and continuing to stay active?
My why for gymnastics is always do it because some people can't, and I think my why is the same for training. I think it's just any type of movement is not everybody's so lucky to be able to do that, and I think that's just my why. Now I need to get back in the gym, that's for sure, but I'm enjoying my few months away from it. Um, but
Hey,
yeah,
you're
I think
hiking though.
that's huh?
I said you're hiking though.
No, I'm not, but I would love to start. um, yeah, I think that's just like my biggest thing. That was always my why in gymnastics, and I think that's just my why now.
Now, what about your why in general, like just in life? This might be a deeper question that I don't know if you have the answer to.
Oh my goodness, I don't think I have the answer to that. I've only ever thought about like whys for gymnastics and stuff like that. But I guess like I have a tattoo on my arm that says "Give yourself a reason," and I think that you should find a reason, like some type of reason, um, for your life, and kind of go with that. So I think that's my answer for that question.
I feel like that's perfect. So this is something, I mean, I probably didn't figure out it until probably 6 years ago, so you got time.
Yeah.
But there was a book. It's called Alchemist. I'll send it to you one day. But it basically the whole thing is talking about you finding your legend, which is the same thing as your why. And this guy goes on this journey through like all this like crazy stuff, and then he at the end of it he finds his legend. And it just kind of struck out to me that it's like, wow, we almost need to know our why, which for athletes it's hard because our why is compete, be great, be legendary, whatever it is.
Right.
A whole bunch of slogans, but it's almost trying to find that and then go from there. It's kind of how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think as athletes, one of our coaches would push all the time, like find your why. So I think as athletes, like that's something you definitely think about, but like it's why you do the sport because you want to stay in love with it, right? So I think finding your why for a life is definitely a lot different, but doable.
Yeah,
Just
it's
have to
scary and intimidating. You
yeah.
just have to. Uh, no, what about your post-sports performance plan? This is obviously a harder one to think about, and you've touched on some of it a little bit. But if you were to design like a training plan for your life post-sports, what would it look like? Would it be more Pilates? Would it be just how you worked out, or be
No, I
heavy
can't do
hiking?
Pilates. I'm actually horrible at Pilates. I don't know why I used that as an example earlier because I knew that I don't like Pilates or yoga. I definitely want to continue either training like an athlete or doing weights and stuff. I've always loved like weightlifting. So continuing with that and just, listening to my body. If I don't want to work out that day, I'm not gonna die. Like I just don't have to work out that day. So
Yeah,
once I get back into the rhythm of actually working out, then I will figure
yeah.
out my actual plan.
Don't worry, we believe in you.
Thank you.
Now I know you talked about like you've talked about a lot of your pillars in general, but what pillars do you think you would keep that you had during gymnastics to your life?
I think, I mean, just like what we were talking about before, discipline, motivation, strength, like resilience. These words are like posted on our gym, but like adaptability, just stuff like that. Just keeping all of the good traits you kind of learn. I mean, you definitely learn some bad traits from sports, but I think keeping all the good traits will help me in my life forever.
No, I love that. Yeah, and I think the pillars are so critical for, I mean, athletes, because you think about athletes in general. I mean, we stop playing a sport. You never stop being an athlete. You just stop competing in the same way you did when you weren't. So it's almost like trying to figure out how can I continue so that I can go on and attack and destroy almost in whatever it is you want to do, which I feel like you're kind of already on that route. It's just finding the right ones, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Take some time.
Uh, do you think, I mean, I know you're coaching now, but do you think you're gonna stay in the sport of gymnastics, or do you feel like you almost need a break one day so you can to
No, I
refresh your
think I
mind?
definitely need a break. I think doing gymnastics in a different way, like being a sport, like a performance coach or like a trainer for gymnastics would be way more up my alley. Um, because I mean, it's been 20, like basically 20 years of my life, not actually, but like basically 20 years of my life, and that's a lot. So I think I definitely will need a break from gymnastics at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 15 plus years from football, and it's funny you say that because I did not have nearly as long of a career in football, but I think I took up until 8 years ago, basically just stepped away from the game completely. Obviously, married someone who has a football coach, everything else brings you into the game, but it's fun, and now I love it more. But it's almost like I had to, and it's funny. I was talking to a baseball coach the other day, and he was just like, "I need a break from baseball. I just can't be near it," and he completely stepped away.
Yeah, I mean, even coaches get burnout. That's a huge thing, right? So I think everybody definitely needs a break from something you do for extended amounts of time.
For sure. I guess what things do you wish people knew about the post sports career? I know if we asked you in a year, it'd probably be even more, but I guess at this stage, early on into it, what would you love athletes, young athletes to know in that process?
I think the biggest thing is like you don't have to fit the mold of somebody else, what other people did. Like a lot of people I know went to grad school. That was not for me. I was not gonna go to. I thought about going to grad school and then it just wasn't gonna work out for me. So I think just not being able to, you're able to do whatever you want to do, right? So follow your heart, follow what you want to do. You don't have to fit the mold of somebody else. You get to actually be you for once. So
I feel like we're finding a why as we speak.
there you go. See?
There we go. Life lessons with Kai again.
Yes. Life lessons with Kai.
Yeah, it is so interesting. I mean, like post career, I mean, there's so many things athletes have to deal with. It's potential injuries, aches and pains from things. I mean, I always tell people I have the body of a 60-year-old going on 30, right? It's the more we learn those lessons that we took from sports, it's much easier transition out of the game. And then somebody told me once, I never stopped competing. I just found a different way to compete, and each way continues to grow, I feel like.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it too. You can always compete with yourself or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, at least what I attempt, but we'll see. Well, cool. This has been awesome. I really have loved hearing your story. I can't wait to see where it goes as I'm getting a front row seat. Um,
Perfect.
can't wait to talk about the pillars even more next week.
Yes. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks, Matt.